Hello, good evening. Welcome to Over and Over and Over Again. My name is Richard. Happy New Year to everyone. This is the first live show of 2022. So starting the new year off in great fashion with the Tuesday clinic, which will be coming up the other side of this. So, good evening to everyone. This is the Tuesday clinic, back again on a Tuesday. We've had a couple of weeks away from a Tuesday with Christmas and all sorts of other stuff going on. But we are back for the new year, 2022, and it's going to be a great year, I'm sure. Joining me, of course, as always, is the panel, great panel as you'd expect. Firstly, of course, Melvin, how you doing? Do you have a good new year?
Yeah, apart from 45 minutes, had a great new year. Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, we'll come on to that. We'll come on to that very, very shortly as well. Adam, as well. I know you've been away. Have a good holiday.
Yeah, really good holiday actually. Yeah, it's like been back in the country maybe 3 days now. It seems like I've been back forever, but no, it was lovely to get away. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. It's good to have you back. And James, of course, as well, becoming a bit of a regular lately on the show. Did you have a good New Year as well? Oh, he's gone quiet again. Oh, are you back?
I've realised I've just spoke that whole time on mute.
You did actually, yeah, which was good because we couldn't hear you, which is kind of defeats the object of being a live show if we can't hear what you're saying, really. But
but no, I had a good New Year, thank you, and I appreciate being asked on. I'll remember to turn myself off mute.
Exactly, that's kind of important. So yeah, make sure you remember to do that. So a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, as always with Arsenal, there's always stuff going on. One thing or another is always happening, and of course, there's only really one place I think we can start this week. It has to be New Year's Day. If I could have got away with it without getting a copyright thing, I would have played U2's New Year's Day song over that, actually, because I think that would have been quite good. But anyway, obviously Manchester City game on the weekend, of course, as we all know what happened there and the few decisions in the game, quite important decisions they turned out to be. And despite all of that, it's easy to maybe focus on all the decisions that went on. But for me, especially that first half, was the best I've seen an Arsenal team play against a team of that level of opposition for years. I can't even remember. I was trying to think, actually, the last time we put in a performance like that against a team that good. And I was struggling to remember how long. It must have been a long time ago. It's got to have been 4 or 5 years ago, at least. Maybe Chelsea in the FA Cup final 2017, possibly they'd won the league that year. But certainly in the Premier League, it's been a long time. And that first half was unbelievable. The way that we played that 45 minutes, I think that's the best 45 minutes of football that there's been at the Emirates for probably ever at the Emirates ever. I think it was brilliant. We were absolutely brilliant. We should have been 2 or 3 up. We should have had that game wrapped up and sealed. And unfortunately, we wasn't able to get the goals that we deserved. And of course, we know what happened after that when Manchester City decided to sign an extra player at half time. And he obviously made the difference for them. But up until that point, that was just, Melvin, you must have been, that was just an incredible 45 minutes of football, wasn't it, from Arsenal?
And the place rocked. It was in dreamland. It was like, what am I watching here? I was with my 2 sons and we're going, what's going on here? This is ridiculous. It reminds me of that game, Richard. And I don't know if you will recall it, you recall everything. But we played Newcastle United midweek, I think it was. We got beat 3-1 in the first half. We were unbelievable.
I remember that game. Yeah.
We played football. It was like from a different planet. And then, do you know who the referee was?
Yes, I do. Was it Howard Webb?
Graham Poll.
Yes, that's it. I remember Terry Henry wasn't very
happy. Never had an agenda against us. He sent off Parlour for his second bookable offence for a tackle on Alan Shearer. And as Alan Shearer was going down, he was going to the ref, no, no foul, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And he was a very tough competitor, Alan Shearer. He realised that Pole was going to get sent off for nothing. But Pole, being Pole, sent him off, changed the game, and they got an equaliser. They nicked another goal. They got, I think, a penalty in the last minute. I think it was the first goal that Alan Shearer scored in London, actually.
Well, it's certainly the only goal he scored at Highbury, wasn't it?
Shut the door, please. Sorry. Thank you. So that game, I'm not saying the referee cost us the game on Saturday, but the referee had a big part in it. It wasn't just the referee's fault. Yeah,
it wasn't just the referee's fault.
That's what reminded me of the game. We didn't pick up someone from a corner against Newcastle, which cost us. I think that was their equaliser. But we were just playing marvellous football with the Bergkamps of this world and whatever. And on Saturday, it was like 11 football, 10 footballs and a goalie that were exactly the same type of player. They were all playing interchanging, passing, gunning. It's like they had the same mindset. Everyone knew what everyone else was doing. I mean, how many times we watched Arsenal the last few years? Someone gets the ball and goes, "Who can I give it to?
Yeah.
Who wants it? I've got no options. I'm standing still. Might as well give it back. I'll give it sideways." And then after a while, during that same game, once the same player gets the ball, he will give it. Yes, go on. Yeah, go on. Yes. Can you shut the door when you go outside, please? Thank you. Sorry about that, my grandson.
No worries.
And it's the same thing that they get the ball and they're so nervous they just give it back automatically. We saw it year after year. Okay, especially at home. Away from home when it's 0-0, if you're playing a half-decent team, then all right, it's slightly different. When you're at home against a low team, you're doing it, you get so frustrated. The game was great. It had everything. We were winning every battle, one against one. We're playing as a team, which is fabulous to see. And all of a sudden, second half, we know what happened. And as I say, we'll probably talk about it later. It was very frustrating. I was very angry. But although I was proud of the team, I was very angry. But at the end of the day, I just think that we were so close to winning that game. First half, we won it, end of 2-3-0 could have been. Second half, without making a big mistake, which it was a big mistake, and things not going our way, we could have won it as well. So it's one of those things. But having said that, I would have loved to have beaten City, but I think that we didn't beat them. But the way we played gives me more of a bonus than beating them and getting a fluke penalty or something. Yes, I would have loved the 3 points, but but if for some reason, all right, we've given 3 points away. We lost 3 points. We might have got even 1 point. I've been happy with after going down to 10 men. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is like long term. This is much better for the club than getting the 3 points on Saturday. I know one thing might not have anything to do with the other, but if you give me the choice now, beating City 1-0, fluking it and playing rubbish, just defending, or playing City like that and getting a point, or even losing for the long term, definitely I'll take the latter.
No, I agree. And I think we've been crying out to see a performance like that against a good team from Arsenal for a long time. And that was, we said it before, when we played Liverpool, we wanted to see a performance. We didn't really get one. So it was nice that we finally did put in a performance against a top team that deserved a lot more from the game than we got, unfortunately. And that's the way it goes. But I agree. I think long term, it's better that we've played well in a game like that because of the confidence it's going to bring everybody. Now we can go into these games in the future feeling like we've got a chance to win because we know what this team are capable of. We got Nigel in the chat. He says, "Good evening, Happy New Year, chaps." Yeah, Happy New Year to you, Nigel, as well. He says, "New Year's Day by U2 is an absolute classic." I don't get anyone says. No, I totally agree. I think it's a great song, and I would have liked to have played it, but I would have probably got shut down. And Nigel says, "Our upcoming fixture against Spurs is looking like a make or break. It's certainly looking at a massive game." He says, "I think we'll comfortably finish ahead of West Ham and Man United." I don't know about comfortably. I think it's going to be very tight between all of us, actually. But the Tottenham game is going to be absolutely huge, isn't it? But we've got a few big games to come, hopefully, before then as well, as long as they go ahead, I suppose. I mean, Adam, what was your... I mean, I know, we've all been a little bit critical of Mikel Arteta. Do you think it was significant, the way that we played, particularly in that first half, that he actually wasn't there directing things from the touchline? Did you think that made a difference, or do you think we would have played like that regardless?
So it's a weird one because I did think of that after. I did think that whether that had a factor on it. And if it did, what does that say about Arteta? The fact that they really want to prove to him that they don't need him now, or they're trying to prove that they can do it without him. or is it just a case that he'd got them so well drilled before the game that he didn't need to be there, that they were already so planned? I mean, to be honest with you all, I didn't see the game live. I was actually travelling back like when it was going on. So I got in my cab from the airport just as the second half was starting, actually. And like our cab driver was just saying how well Arsenal was supposed to play, and I was obviously really excited. And then I was jet lagged majorly, and we lost 2-1. It wasn't great, but I did watch it back in the evening because of the way that everyone was saying how well we played. I thought I've got to watch this, and obviously it's not the same as watching it live because you know the result. But even still, I was watching it back, and I was gutted that I weren't there. You know, I was never going to be there because I was travelling, but I was absolutely gutted because, like Melvin said, it sounded like the place was rocking, and every single player in that first half, especially, was just like outstanding. I don't know, and you know, you've got to give some credit to. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the assistant coach's name because I'm embarrassed myself. But you got to give some credit to him because obviously he's taken that team on board and he was leading that team that day, you know, and to get that performance out of them was outstanding, you know. And for me, the next one is going to be the next game, whether that's going to be Liverpool, whether that's going to be Forest, seeing how we now react from that, see if, you know, because, you know, if it's Liverpool, they should be bang up for that game no matter what side Liverpool put out. It's still Liverpool. If it's Forest, will they have that same intensity? Will they have that same desire, you know, because it's a so-called lesser team? So for me, it's going to be really interesting how we now turn up to our next game. I mean, like you said, like if we play that way against Spurs week after next, like they won't stand a chance, really. They shouldn't stand a chance against us because it was outstanding. You know, that 45 minutes was outstanding. I think that, you know, we'll probably come on to it a bit later. Officials frustrate me massively. Like, I know I don't want to get into it too much, but VAR, what's the point? You know, I've never been a massive fan of VAR anyway, but, you know, you can have inconsistent referees. If you've got VAR, you can't have inconsistencies in VAR. It's ridiculous. What's the whole point?
No, you're right. Yeah.
And that bit, it really is annoying me, and I can't get over that. Even though I'm so proud of the way the boys played, I can't get past that whole inconsistency on the VAR. I've never been a fan of VAR, and I never wanted it. But if they were getting things right, it's like, well, fair enough, they're getting it right. But they're not getting it right. And it's not just our game. It's happened a few times this season and last season. I mean, I know that they're saying teething problems, but we're in the third or fourth season now with VAR. It should be better than that. And, you know, it's, for me, that, you know, we could go on to a blue in the face, and that cost us a bit. People can have a go about Xhaka. Yeah, he's a bit of a scapegoat, though. People do use him as a scapegoat. Fair enough. But what's he supposed to do in that situation? I mean, Silva was looking for the penalty. Xhaka did get hold of the shirt, but even I think the was it Walton said after that wasn't the bookable offence. It's like, well, what is then the dive? It's like, come on, what's going on? It just didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And then how's that a penalty? And then Odegaard's not. I just don't know. But I did feel sorry for Xhaka because I thought he'd had such a good game in that first half, especially. Yeah. I watched it back, and obviously I weren't at the ground, so it's different. But from what I saw on TV in that first half, he was, you know, obviously they were all great, but he was probably one of the best performances I'd seen him play. But then what he'll be remembered for is that red card and being made a scapegoat of, which is a real shame. But yeah, first 45 minutes amazing. The commitment was there, and even when we lost a player down, they still didn't get their heads. His head still didn't go down. So yeah, I mean, I just hope we can build from that and show that confidence, the fact that we can perform against who are the best team at the moment. Let's be honest, they're the best team in the Premier League, if not Europe at the moment. City, they're 9 points clear. You know, and if we can't take confidence from that performance, even though we lost, you know, where can you take it from?
No, exactly. And I mean, that's got to be the overriding thing that we get out of it. Yeah, I think we're all frustrated and upset and annoyed about some of the decisions in the second half in particular. But ultimately, we've got to look back on that with a lot of pride in the way that we play, the way that we approached the game from the first whistle. And even, as you said, when we were down to 10 men, we still were in that game. And, you know, we could have even nicked a win in the end. We didn't get anything, and that's frustrating as well. But ultimately, I don't think we can have too many. We have to take pride from the performance. I mean, I know Adam's kind of touched on it there, the decisions and the referee. I mean, that's always what this game's going to be remembered for, unfortunately, as opposed to such a great 45 minutes, James. I mean, the first penalty for me, and I don't want to defend the referees or anything because I think they're all useless, but what probably happened to my mind was the referee didn't give the penalty for Odegaard. VAR said to him, "That's, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You're right. That's the right decision. Carry on." Whereas with the second one, he didn't give the penalty, and VAR said, "I think you've got that wrong." So he went to check. I think that's why he checked one and not the other. It's wrong because what the referee should have said was to the second one, "Well, I didn't check the first one, so I'm not checking this one," and then just gone with his original decision. That's what he perhaps should have done. Now, go on then, Melvin.
And then, in my opinion, any penalty decision a referee makes, he should check it. He should go.
No, he should. I agree. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's given one or given one before, for whatever team it is. You've got to take every penalty decision as it on its own. So therefore, if a referee is not 100% and they're in his ear going, you may or may not have missed something, go to the screen. Because the referee should be made responsible for the decision, not the VAR people. And at the moment, it's the VAR people to me that's running it, and that's wrong. They're not there for that. But that's the referee not to make the decision, and that's what's wrong.
No, you're right. And I just felt as though what possibly happened, and I say I'm not trying to defend the referee because I thought he was dreadful with not only with that decision, with loads of other decisions as well. But I just got the feeling that VAR told him the first one, don't check it, that's all right. You're not going to see anything that you haven't seen. And with the second one, they told him to check it because he may have seen something he had missed. And I think that's the reason why. But that's the inconsistency with VAR. And I think that ultimately the referee should have taken control of that and said, I'm sticking with my original decision, because it wasn't enough there for it to be a penalty. Let's be honest, that the Manchester City one, our one would have been a soft penalty possibly, but you could, at least there was contact. I mean, if Xhaka pulled out of the challenge, he was falling down and Xhaka was almost trying to pull him up. More than pull him down. It was ridiculous. I mean, James, the whole refereeing situation's overshadowed the game a little bit, hasn't it? Which maybe, from our point of view, that's a shame because of how well we played. Man City probably feel the same because they've won the game in the end. But what did you make of it all? I mean, there's so many talking points. Really, it's difficult to know where to start with it all.
So, touching on what you've just said, you've surmised that absolutely brilliantly. It's there because they need to define in their terms, and what we keep hearing every time, especially when you see and you hear Mr. or whatever he is that it's there to define things that aren't clear and obvious. That Ederson one, in his head, he's made the decision on the field to go, I don't think that was. I think he got enough of the ball there. So they've, like you've said, gone, okay, back you on that. But then the second one and the Xhaka one, they've said you've missed the shirt pull. You might have seen that okay, Tierney loses him, and you know that Xhaka's not quick enough to react. It is a lazy leg. You know Bernardo Silva is going to buy that. You know he's going to buy that, and he does grab it. And we've seen this week, I can't remember who the ref is, but he did a column, I think it was The Athletic. I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been Gallagher or someone said, "Yeah, we do keep players in our head that have previous." And whether I know you've said Granit Xhaka as a scapegoat or what have you. The guy's been here 6 years, 46 yellows, 4 reds, 9 errors leading to goals. The guy's got previous, and the thing is, the ref's there to adjudicate the game, not control the game. The ref took control of the game, but then he completely lost control of the game and he ruined it. As a neutral, I'd have felt robbed of a spectacle. As a spectacle, he robbed it. He robbed it as a spectacle for me, even just as an Arsenal fan. But if I was a neutral, I'd have been angry as well, because I'd be like, 11 versus 11. This last 15 minutes could have been bloody tasty there. I'd love to have seen that. But again, it's us being architects of our own downfall. So 2 silly mistakes. To beat sides like this, you have to be absolutely perfect. You can't make 2 mistakes like that. You have to be 100% every single way through. And I tell you what, we had worse refs when I was younger, and we went 49 games unbeaten because most of the time we were just perfect all the way through. But I believe that that's coming. I saw enough there to go, there are not going to be many sides in this league that have Man City not have a single shot and a half. That's something that we should hold and be proud of.
Although having said that, I did see a stat today that actually that's the 4th time this season Man City haven't had a shot in the first half.
Oh, really?
Game. So,
they were making out that we would to do it.
I saw a stat that it's the 4th time. I think it was Southampton when they drew 0-0, Spurs' first game of the season.
Oh, they were bigging us up when we done it. I thought, oh well, here we go. This is
but no, it wasn't actually. But anyway, it's not often.
We'll still take it.
Just before I forget, with the penalty, I know they don't do it, but there could be a case for the penalty, but still booking Silva for diving. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's such a blatant
I
dive.
suppose so. Yeah. You could say that
I know
because
it's
obviously,
never been done before, but that's how I felt. If you're going to give the penalty for anything, make up your excuse, but you've got to admit the geezer 100% dived.
Yeah,
so, yes, the penalty because there was contact because the shirt was pulled. Though it didn't bring him down, it would have helped him up, as you said. But he got away with diving. Not only got away with the penalty, he got the reward of a penalty. He didn't get done for diving, which he should have done. That doesn't balance up. He actually had it off twice in 1 second, Silva.
Yeah. No, he did.
When you watch it, when he's going down, it's that obvious one, that big tug. There is one big tug, and that's the one. But if that now constitutes as a penalty, then the next round of the league games that come up.
Oh, be loads.
No, all of these have got to be given now. We're going to get about 10 of these a game then. If this is the precedent that you're setting,
won't know, will it? It won't.
No, of course it won't. No, but if this is the way that it's going to be, I mean, the Harry Maguire one on Tomiyasu in our game is more of a bigger pull than the one that Xhaka did.
Maguire has still got Tommy's sleeve in his pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I said after the game on Saturday that not many other teams in the Premier League would have got that penalty given in their favour. You know, Brighton don't get that penalty. Newcastle don't get that penalty. Aston Villa probably don't get that penalty at the Emirates. Maybe at home it might be different, but away at the Emirates, no one gets that penalty. You know, Liverpool may possibly have got it. Man City obviously got it. Man United would probably have got it. But that's not the right reason. You don't give a penalty because of the teams involved. You don't give a penalty because of the player involved. You know, if that was Kieran Tierney that made that challenge instead of Granit Xhaka, would they still have given a penalty? Would he even have looked at it? You don't know, do you? Granit Xhaka seems to get, because it's Granit Xhaka, the referees do seem to come down on him a lot harder than they do on certain other players. I think that's obvious. And I'm not saying Granit Xhaka is always not to blame, because he's partly to blame for a lot of it. But I felt he was really harshly done by on Saturday because it wasn't a foul. It shouldn't have been a penalty. And I saw a lot of people basically going in on Granit Xhaka. He's like, what's Granit Xhaka meant to do? If he'd let Bernardo Silva walk past him and Bernardo Silva scored, everyone would have said, what's Granit Xhaka doing? Why didn't he try and tackle him? He's tried to tackle him. He realised he couldn't do it. He pulled away and Bernardo Silva fell over. That should have been a free kick to us, a yellow card to Bernardo Silva. Granit Xhaka's done his job. But the referee decided differently and it's gone, the whole game turned on that moment. And I don't think Granit Xhaka was to blame at all for that. I don't blame him 1%. Not at all. Nothing at all. It wasn't anything to do with Granit Xhaka's fault. He did all he could do in that situation. He was covering for a teammate and he tried to stop Bernardo Silva getting a shot away or getting a crossing. That's what he's got to do. And Bernardo Silva's dived and should have been booked.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that the options open to him was either -2 or -3 to him, right? They're the options. But my point with Xhaka would be that if he is a defensive midfield player, we're not sure yet, but a player who's a midfielder who's supposed to be able to tackle, 9 out of 10 other midfielders in other teams and our own perhaps would be able to tackle without having to grab or leave a lazy leg. So he's not completely blameless, Richard.
I just think in the situation, you've got to bear in mind, a couple of weeks ago against Leeds, Ben White, who's supposed to be this fantastic defender, committed a stupid foul in a penalty where a player that wasn't going anywhere. And he gave away a penalty. Nobody's going in on him, are they? Granit Xhaka didn't really do anything wrong.
I think he would have been slaughtered, though. I think if he was 0-0, he would have been slaughtered. I think.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
They're both players with limited mobility. But it's the case of, like you said, he is a scapegoat. I gave the numbers earlier and everything else. But with Ben White, people are going to go, oh, yeah, but he's young and he can... Where Granit Xhaka's been 6 years and you keep, do you know what I mean? You keep seeing it happening and happening. That's where you lose. That's where they're going to lose the people. And I'll tell you what, though, that first half performance, like that screen that he played with Thomas Partey in the midfield, and it's so ironic he has his best game as he's going to play, African
is it
Cup
ironic
Nations.
or is it ironic, or is there a reason behind it? Is he getting himself ready for the African Cup of Nations? Is that more important to him?
Yeah, could be. And that they were absolutely sensational, and he would have got such props if he didn't do what he did. People would have gone, no, do you know what? He had a brilliant game today. But you remember the incident, sadly. That's the way it goes. But like I said, just again, architects of our own downfall. But there is enough. Trust me, there is enough. We're going to get there. We will get there.
No, I mean, I'm sure we will. And it was a, that I don't want all that controversy to overshadow what a great performance it was.
Yes.
Nigel says there, it's the most cosmopolitan league in the world, yet they insist on picking from the same pool of inept officials they do. The league needs the best referees in the world as opposed to the best in England. Well, that's not really how it works, is it? Because every country has the referees from their own nation, don't they, ref in their league. So I don't know how that would work. It's a good idea in principle.
For me, I think the VAR refs should be completely separate from the North. They shouldn't even know who they are. Possibly. Because I'm like, if I do his game next week, I've dropped him in it there, so I'm going to.
They don't have agendas as well.
I think they shouldn't know. I don't. Okay, show us sometimes where they are in Stockley Park and what have you. Look at it, but I think we should see who they are. We shouldn't even know what their names are. Just there's 3 people in there doing the VAR today, and it should be completely independent. And like you said earlier, Melvin, I know it gets a lot of stick because it's a very good level of football, but in the MLS, every single thing where the ref gets the call in the earpiece, monitor. Every single one. Everything, they go to the monitor.
No, they do. And that's something we can maybe look at to improve it. Definitely something needs to improve.
I think they worry about if they do it here, it's too slow.
Possibly.
I'd say hurry up.
Possibly.
Yeah.
They've got to get
in America, they're used to it with NFL because it's stop, start.
It's a slow game.
They try
like rugby.
They did it here, people, I think, complain.
Yeah, I mean, rugby and cricket, they say it works well, but that's slower games, so that's probably why it can work better than it does in football. Neil's in the chat, he says, we were robbed. Yeah, we were. Bloody ref, yeah, as we've said. He says, evening all, gets that in afterwards after moaning about the ref, which is fine. Hope you're all well. Yeah, we're doing well, mate. Thanks for tuning in. He makes a good point now. How many fouls before they got a card? Totally opposite to us. In fact, they never got a card until injury time when he took his shirt off when he scored. And then they got one after that as well. So they got their 2 yellow cards after 90 minutes, whereas we got all 6 of ours during the game.
I'm not sure he wanted to give him the yellow card when he took his shirt off. I thought the ref thought he might get away with it, not giving him a yellow card.
Yeah, he should have been sent off before anyway. But Neil says, as right as we've said there, what a performance. We were far better than Man City, even when we went down to 10 men. Yeah, I thought we were as well. That challenge at Martinelli at the start, I could have put him out for the season, nothing given. Yeah, exactly. Another decision that went against us. And then he says,
the corner for that as well. How you can think the corner was justifiable was absolutely
there were some crazy decisions going on in that game.
Yeah.
Shane says, if VAR is working with the clear and obvious formula, why is there a monitor on pitch side? Clear and obvious, just scrap it. Refs got the monitor for every pen and red card. Yeah, that's what Melvin said before. I agree with that as well. Yeah. Neil's gone a little bit excited there. Says we're winning a quad within 4 seasons. Maybe 1 trophy each season, perhaps. I don't think we'll win all 4 in 1 season, maybe. But,
Neil's talking about Charity Shield, Emirates Cup, and then maybe
Emirates Cup, Charity Shield, League Cup, and some friendly.
They bring back the JVC tournament, or whatever it was.
The Audi Cup,
Amsterdam tournament. Yeah.
Johnston's paid for the under-23s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nigel says that Bernardo Silva is the type of player I would appreciate a lot more if he wasn't playing for a dirty oil money club. Yeah, and if he wasn't diving constantly as well, falling over at the slightest opportunity. And Shane says Xhaka would have got a red card for what Mason Mount. He possibly would have done because it's Xhaka, and Mason Mount's like a little England favourite, isn't he? So he's not going to get sent off. A bit like Harry Kane.
You say about Marley with the elbow. Mane,
exactly. Yeah, he's done that a few times. He's got history, and yet still no one wants to send him off. So there you go.
He's not that type of player, Richard. That's why.
No, only every game he does it, he is. Yeah. He's not that type of player. Other than that, Nigel says, in hindsight, I'm glad Xhaka stayed after being linked with a move away, and more so looking at the state of United's midfield. There aren't that many great players in that position knocking about. Well, no, that's true. If you get rid of someone, you've got to replace him with someone better. Neil says, we need to be able to hear him. Yeah, we do. And also hear what the corrupt bastards are saying. Well, yeah, they probably wouldn't say that, though, would they? If they were being mic'd up, they'd probably be a little bit more careful. Gary's in the chat, DWC said, Gary, thanks for tuning in. He says, hi, Rich and panel. And Neil says there, talking about the real deal. Well, we'll see. I mean, I like your confidence and your optimism, but I'm not quite sure we're quite able to do the quad within 4 years. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. Certainly, Saturday's performance gave us all hope that things are on the up and that we may well be challenging for the serious trophies again very soon with this young team as they develop. We need a few more experienced bodies in as well, and a few more positions need cover, as we'll see probably as the season goes on. But I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I don't want all the controversy which took over that game to disguise the fact that we are looking, or we were certainly in that game, looking a good side. And I did touch on it before, obviously about Arteta not being there on the day. And, you know, I know he would have prepared the team, but he wasn't actually at training for a few days before because he was isolated. So maybe, you know, I think his name's Albert, isn't it? The assistant who took charge. I don't want to try and say his name either for the same reason that Adam didn't want to either. Yeah, something like that, yeah. I mean, I actually thought he handled himself really well. Not only the way he prepared the team, but his interviews afterwards. And he looks a really intelligent guy. He understands football. And I thought it was his day more than anything, actually. I thought he was brilliant. He was a star for me. He really stood out in everything that he did, his interviews before and after the game, the way he coached the team. He wasn't so in their face on the side, was he? He got up and you know, he was coaching a little bit, but that was more what you want to see from your manager. You don't want to see your manager constantly coaching for 90 minutes on the side. And I thought he was fantastic, actually. I'd like to see him have more influence maybe going forward, if that's what he can produce. You know, between them, maybe Arteta needs to use him more on a match day, maybe a little bit more than he uses himself. You see what I mean? Maybe take a little bit of a backseat, let Albert go to the front and organise things a little bit more. But it was just fantastic. It was a fantastic performance and gives us all, I think, a little glow. I had a little glow at half time, I must admit, inside. Like, I know I've been a big critic of Arteta. I think we all have at times, and I think rightly so. But we can't have any complaints about, you know, not just the Saturday's game. I think the last few actually that we've played, we're looking at a much better team now. It looks as though the pennies dropped. The players have got what they need to do now. They understand their roles, and let's hope that this is the start of a really good run of form that can take us to the heights that we wouldn't have expected this season quite so soon, really. I mean, you know, maybe the trebles on this year, and then the quadruple next year.
We're so used, Rich, to talking about how good in our team. You know, we all come out, you know, Melvin, we've been there, haven't we? Weren't Odegaard great? Oh, how good was this one? But that was the best as a collective. I mean, Saka run the show. That's the best I've seen an English youngster for Arsenal play against a big team since Wilshere against Barca. I'll freely throw my hands up and say that. But just as a whole collective, like you said earlier, front to back, all of them knew the assignment, got the assignment, and were like, we'll have this today. And they were so bloody close to having it as well. It's gutting. I mean, if that Martinelli one goes in and we're 2-0 up, we might have been able to take them to the sword, because they would have come out a bit more, and we might have got them again, because Saka was doing Ake on that side, and Martinelli can still have a bad week. You know, I don't want to take the mickey out of him too bad for what happened to him. It's tragic, but he didn't get no rest by he didn't believe it.
He didn't know. And I mean, and that's kind of it's just a shame, isn't it, that we'll never know now, without those mad decisions that happened, whether or not we could have beaten Man City the way that we played. We certainly feel as though we had a great chance to beat them the way that we played up till that point. And then those things went against us, and it's hard to know. It's just a shame that we'll never actually know until we maybe play them again, or we play someone as good as them next time, and see if we can carry that through and actually get that result over the line. Because we certainly had all the signs to say that we could, but we're never going to know for certain, because it was taken away from us. And I agree, to a certain degree, some of our mistakes, but also some very, very strange refereeing, shall we say. And Neil says, I believe, lads. Well, no, we will believe, but I'm maybe not quite as much as you at the moment. Shane says, is there any parallel that there is no great English refs and great English managers when their kids, they dream of playing for England? Maybe a system of education at a younger age. Yeah, possibly. I think we need more refs, more younger refs coming through, because obviously the current lot have been there for a long time and aren't getting any better, are they? So Gary says there, Arsenal's performance is what I wanted and what I got in the City match. Clone it and use it again, please. Yeah, I would say 100%. Let's use it every single week. And if we do that, then we would win the quadruple without a shadow of a doubt. Neil says, in all seriousness, it was a fantastic performance, and that's what made the loss harder to stomach. Yeah, no, you're right, it did. A real shame not to come away with any points. It was indeed. Gary says there, yes, free Stu, give him the keys. Give him the keys. I'll say. I mean, enjoyed his interviews. No, I thought his interviews were great. They were indeed. Nigel says, I think Partey will be back sooner rather than later. Ghana a decent side, but I wouldn't expect them to make it past the semi-finals at best. Yeah, hopefully they get knocked out quickly and get him back. And Neil says there, the ref got in the way of Martinelli. He did, yeah. How many things transpired against us? He still should have scored, yeah. But somebody said, actually, someone made a point. I don't know what you guys thought. It's like, because of the way the referee was and he had to go round him, he had to take that with his left foot, which is his weaker foot. Whereas if he'd been able to approach it straight on, it would have been a right foot and he'd have probably almost definitely scored. So I do think it's an excuse. He should have scored. But ultimately, I don't think that helped him, did it? I mean, do you think he would have scored then, Melvin, with his right foot if he could have just come onto it straight ahead?
Right.
Rather than...
Listen, he would have definitely scored with his right foot, but he should have scored with his left foot. He could have taken another touch as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? I mean, Adam, what do you think the referee should have done about that? Because he clearly did impede him, didn't he? He clearly did impede him.
It's a difficult one because what's the ref? I mean, like, the ref's not going to give a decision against himself, is he? The ref's not going to say, "Oh, I'm up."
Yeah, but they do when they touch the ball, don't they?
Sometimes they do, but have you ever? I don't know if I've seen one like that where it's been like so close to goal. I mean, he could have maybe given him direct free kick. I don't know. I mean, for me, it was bad positioning. You know, for the ref's part, he shouldn't have been that close to the ball. You know, from a ref's perspective, he should have been back a bit more, I thought. But what can he do? I mean, you got I thought the ref done all right in the first half. Actually,
yeah, I did.
In the second half, where he one decision and that was it. He lost his head and it all went over the place. But it's a difficult one because I don't know what the rules are in that. Yes, he impeded him. Yes, he stopped him, and it was a clear chance, and he would have scored had the ref been 3 foot the other way or 3 foot behind him. You know, it would have been a goal. But what do you do? Like, who do you complain to about it? Like, this is really odd.
Listen, this ref had such a strange game. He nearly booked the ball boy, didn't he? I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. He could have booked himself. I thought he might have booked himself. He's having such a weird game, the referee.
Well, Neil says there he should have sent himself off. Yeah, he should have done that. That'd have been good.
Yeah, that helped us all out.
It's got the goal scoring opportunity, didn't he? Letter of the law, you're off.
Yeah, he did. He did.
It is a weird one. I mean, like, no one really kind of went into it too much, did they? They didn't really question the other referees on it because I don't think it's something that happens that often. But yeah, it does make you wonder some things. I mean, but at the same thing, you can't predict where that ball's going to go at the same period. You can't. Refs, I mean, like, I've got 2 friends whose boys are actually looking to become referees. They are 14 and 17, and one of them's already got his first level refereeing qualification, and he wants to make a career of it. And he started reffing sort of tier 8 league in England.
Oh, brilliant.
And one of the things, and he's refereed some of like my son's games and stuff as well. One of the things they're always told is not to get in the way of play. You've got to keep up with play, but you've also got to keep further enough away so you don't interfere. And that's at that age, 17-year-old being told that, you know. So what's a professional referee?
There was no reason for that ref to encroach into the box. You've got goal.
He shouldn't have been there.
You saw the way he sprinted in there as well. He actually sprinted to get into the box. It's like, where are you going? What are you doing? There was no need for him to do that at all.
Trying to defend it. It was as if he was trying to get there to cut the kind of cross. Oh, it was ridiculous. But
I've never seen a referee in all the years been watching football. I've seen referees get in the way of players around the centre, midfield. I've never ever seen a referee get in the way of a player in the penalty box. Perhaps I'm losing.
You shouldn't have been in that box. You shouldn't have been in the box. You should have been outside the box behind play. That's where he should have been.
But is he going to get disciplined for that? Because that was, regardless of all the other decisions he made, he could maybe justify the decisions for whatever reason, right? But for that's a positioning issue, isn't it? Melvin's agent's on the phone. But
there's a referee no more. Don't mention it.
There's the referees on the phone to Melvin. They're going to ask Melvin's going to referee our next game. That's what
it's probably someone who wants to give me money. They always want to give me money, these people. I seem to have won a competition every week.
It's January. It's Arseblog trying to take him off you, Rich. Try him off you.
That's what it is. Yeah, we'll have to negotiate a better deal, I think, at this rate if we're not careful. But that's a positioning issue for the referee, isn't it? He shouldn't be in that position, and that's an error. That's a worse error for me than all the other decisions put together, because that's a positioning issue, and he should be pulled aside for that. He should be disciplined for that, because that was dreadful. That was a dreadful thing for the referee to do. You can't get involved in the play to that extent. You just can't. You know, he impeded Martinelli's path towards the ball, and Martinelli had to go around him, and that it contributed to him missing the chance. And yeah, he still could have scored.
I don't think he'd be disciplined. I mean, Mike Riley's the head of the refs, isn't he?
Yeah, Mike Riley. Yeah.
Mike Riley. He'd probably get promoted on that.
What, for being against us, for tackling our player?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. 10 years ago, he was demoted to League One games for bad decisions that he made whilst he was refereeing in the Premier.
Yeah, that's true. He was. Yeah. He hasn't learned his lesson, has he? Clearly.
Yeah. No. I'm like, I wouldn't even take him at the league.
I mean, Neil says
against Everton, that didn't think it was right for any of the refs to have another look at Tommy's when Tommy head that geezer's studs.
Yeah. I mean, and Neil says he was paid 100%. I mean, it does seem strange, because I agree with Adam. I thought the first half the ref was fine. He refereed the game well. He let things go, and in the second half he comes out and does that. Was it a betting syndicate got to him at half time? Did he get a phone call he didn't want? You know, you've got to do better, mate. Man City are losing. You've got to try harder. I'm not sure, but yeah, certainly something was going on. Gary says Atwell wanted to score versus City, and then woke and realised he was the ref. But he seemed to want to score, didn't he? The way he burst into the box, he actually got there quicker than Martinelli did. That's how fast he was going, and he just got in the way. Anyway, Shane says, "What you make of Dermot Gallagher? They all gangsters would love to see their Snapchat group." Yeah, I reckon that'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know why they bother putting the referees on the shows. Actually, it's a waste of time, because they're always going to defend each other. They're never ever going to criticise their mate, are they? I think Neil says he'll be congratulated, not disciplined. Yeah, he probably will. But we'll see what happens with that. I mean, yeah, it is such a shame that we spent most of the Man City game talking about all that stuff, which was so important in the game. But I say it does maybe overshadow what was a fantastic Arsenal performance. But ultimately, we lost the game, and it hasn't really helped us in our top four kind of challenge. But ultimately, it was a game that anything we got from it would have been seen as a bonus, I guess, because Man City, they're top of the league, still top of the league, and we all wanted to see us put in a performance like that against a team of that quality, and we did. And I think ultimately we've got to be happy with that, and just upset and disappointed with the way that we lost. And hopefully we can regroup on that, and maybe little things like that. I remember when, the old days under George Graham, when things went against the team, he got them all together and it made us stronger. And let's hope that this does the same. We can regroup and we can become stronger on the back of this, and it might be the thing that makes this team, perhaps. Let's hope it is, because that's what we all want to see.
I remember when we lost to Chelsea when Wayne Bridge scored. I think we sort of got back together and still done the invincible. I'm not saying we're probably going to win the league this year, but if we can take a loss like that, if we can take a loss like that and take the positives out of it, like people said, it's one of them where you shouldn't be despondent about it.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah, you should be like, no, let's hold our heads high. We've done the job. And like I said earlier, we understood the assignment, and we were close. I mean, that second goal, if you want to touch on it, 90 out of 100 times he doesn't get that ricochet, but where they've got the extra man, they can put their CDM in that position. They can take the risk. We couldn't play with that element of risk when we needed to, because they had the man advantage. And
Do you blame Holding for the poor header?
No, 90 out of 100 times, Melvin, that don't happen. It just is. I can't say the word I want to say. So.
No, I agree. I wouldn't really blame Holding. I mean, it was a fortunate goal, wasn't it? The second one, it just, it just fell kindly to him in the box, and he tucked it away. And it was just one of them things that's unfortunate, and it was a shame it was so late in the game as well. But anyway, that's the way it is. I mean, I did feel as though his celebration was a little bit, yes. People shouldn't have been throwing bottles at him, let's be fair. But if you're going to go over and celebrate in front of the home fans in the way that he did, he almost jumped in the crowd. I mean, I'm thinking, what are you doing? Your fans are just over there. Go and run over there and celebrate with them. They're happy for you to score. We're not. So the fact he came over, to me, he should get a fine or something for that, because that was inciting the crowd, and there was no need for it. The way he celebrated that goal, where he celebrated it. And yes, we can't excuse people throwing things at him because that's wrong as well. But ultimately, he's got to be more responsible on the pitch and not do that. There was no excuse to do that. He almost copied Saka's celebration. He ran to the same place Saka ran to when he scored. It's like, seriously, mate, what are you doing? I'd have been tempted to throw bottles at him if I'd been there, but luckily I wasn't, so that was all right. But yeah, I mean, that maybe I think something should happen about that as well, actually, because I thought that was pretty stupid of him. Actually, he got away with a few things in that game, and he looks like he's going to get away with this as well, because I haven't heard any charges being brought against him. So he's got away with that, and that was just ridiculous, really. But anyway,
there's charges against us being unable to control.
Yeah,
that's what I've read. Is that they've said that. Yeah, you failed to control a section of your crowd with your. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, just beat me up.
The point is, he shouldn't be running over and celebrating like that, should he? I mean, I know Jamie Vardy's done a few things, but he's never really done that. He went sliding on his knees right towards the Arsenal fans, almost dived in the crowd. It's like, what, mate? You're at the wrong end of the pitch. I don't know if he realised that the Man City fans were the opposite side. I don't know what he was doing. It reminded me a little bit of that the Adebayor situation that he did when he ran the whole length of the pitch to celebrate in front of the Arsenal fans that time. It almost had a little similarity to that, didn't it? And he got a load of things thrown at him as well. But he also got a ban, I think, on the back of that, although for that stamp as well.
But if City were 1 point ahead of their rivals, I can understand if we've been giving him a lot of stick.
Yeah.
I can understand if he used to play for us and the crowd were having a go at him. I can understand a lot of things. But you're about 12 points ahead, mate. No one can catch that. You know what I mean? It's another 2 points, well done, but it don't change anything. Really doesn't change anything.
No. I mean, it was over the top of celebration anyway.
Don't get me wrong. Let him celebrate. Who wouldn't celebrate scoring the winner in the last minute and nicking it when you don't deserve it? Fantastic.
Oh, of course.
But to do it to the fans when you know where the fans are, you're not stupid, but you're acting like you're stupid. I'm sorry, it's no class.
No, exactly. And I'll say he's a player with no class. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago against Wolves, when Jimenez got sent off, he was applauding the referee's decision to send him off. He's always putting fake cards up, and he kicked lumps out of all our players and got away with it all game. He's just a horrible player, isn't he? He's a horrible player, and I hope bad things happen to him, seriously, because he's just horrible. I hate him so much. He's one of them players that you just dislike. It's not even because he's a good player. Some players you dislike because they're good. I don't even think he's that good. He's just horrible. He's a horrible player on the pitch, and what he did at the end of that game, he deserves to get a ban. And I would be looking at banning him for about 10 games for that, quite honestly. And that's it for me. He's done. Rodri, you can go, mate. You've done it. But I've had enough of that Man City game now because
I know it's called the clinic. It's making me worse.
Yeah, it's making me worse. Yes, but that we had to get it out of our system, though, didn't we? Since the weekend. I mean, what we have got coming up, actually, well, hopefully we've got coming up, is a semi-final, and that's really exciting, isn't it? Obviously, it may not go ahead at this point. We've been hearing today Liverpool have put an application in to get the game postponed due to so-called COVID cases, due to the fact that half their teams are away in the African Cup of Nations and all these other reasons as well. And it may not now go ahead, which would be a shame. I think at the moment there's been no confirmation that it has been postponed. So we're going to assume that perhaps it's going ahead, and we will look forward to it as though it is, because for me, it's a massive game. It's actually the 16th time. Well, no, it will be the 17th time we've played Liverpool in the League Cup, actually, which is the most we've ever played any team in any one competition before. We've won 5, drawn 6, and lost 5 of the previous 16. Although 2 of those draws did get a penalties. We won 1 and they won 1. But we have seemed to play Liverpool a lot in this competition over the years. There's been some great games, some poor games. We did play them once in the semi-final back in 1978. And they did beat us 2-1 at Anfield in the first leg, and then we drew 0-0 in the second leg, and they went through to the final where they got beat by Nottingham Forest, I think it was. So we've got a lot of history in this competition against Liverpool. Of course, we'll all remember that 6-3 victory at Anfield in this competition a few years ago. Baptista's 4 goals, that was a fantastic night. And we got to the final that year as well. So there's been some good games. They've beaten us a few times as well, as we know. Of course, that 5-5 draw a couple of years ago at Anfield in this competition, which was an incredible game, wasn't it? We ended up losing that on penalties as well. But there's been some great games. And obviously, this one, if it does go ahead, I would assume Liverpool would have rested a few players anyway. They've got maybe bigger fish to fry elsewhere in the season. But I see this as a great opportunity for us in this competition. Liverpool are a great side, we know that, but I think at the moment they're beatable. Would you say that as well, Melvin? Would you think that, whether or not the game goes ahead this week or next week, whenever, do you think that we've got a great chance of getting through? Because I do.
I think we definitely have. Forget about, number one, their two best forwards are not playing. That is a big plus for us, because Mane and Salah always seem to score against us. That's a big plus. And also, we're riding high. If we can mentally get over that little hump of the last 40 or 35 minutes of last Saturday, we've got something. I think we're playing the best. It's a crescendo. I mean, it's not that performance against Man City on Saturday. It wasn't a one-off. It was a one-off against a great team. But we've been playing some very good football against much poorer teams before that. So we have got momentum now. I don't want it to stop. I want to play. I want to play Liverpool now. And I want to play on Thursday night. So I think, of course they're beatable. They are beatable. That's certainty they're beatable. And I don't even think their defence is playing that well either, to be quite honest with you. They don't seem that solid like they used to be. I think there's mistakes in their defence, which you wouldn't have said a season or two ago. I don't think that they're looking forward to playing us on Thursday for various reasons. So, no, I'm quietly confident that we can do it over two legs. Well, whatever, even if whatever team they put out. But, it's going to be tough, because Liverpool always is tough. And as you said, we've had some great performances against them in the past. I mean, one of the league, I think it was, League Cup one, I think it was. We played them when Alan Smith was in the team.
Yeah.
We drew 1-0 at Anfield when Rocastle scored.
Rocastle scored, that was a great game.
Oh, my God. And that was the year that Liverpool were great then. They were absolutely off the radar. That was the year I think we won the league, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah, it was, Yeah, it was 89. Well, it was 89, yeah.
Yeah, so therefore, to go to Liverpool and draw in the League Cup was a very, very big performance. And we could have won that game. I thought we were slightly unlucky. It was live on the box. And I thought we were very unlucky. And for once, you thought, we ain't got a bad team here. We've actually got not a bad little football team. But that goal from Rocastle got you out of your seat, didn't it? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Funnily enough, that game you mentioned funnily enough, the weekend just before that, we played Nottingham Forest away and we'd won 4-1.
Was that Marwood scoring that goal?
Yeah.
And Stevie Bold getting it back.
Yeah, that was the weekend before. And then we played Liverpool on the midweek. And those two performances back to back were two of the best away performances Arsenal put in for years. Yeah. And then obviously we knew then, as you said, that we had a team that, this team's pretty good. And it's almost like what we're doing at the minute, putting a great performance in and suddenly thinking, hang on, we've got a team here now. And, I know it's not going to be quite the same, but, the fact we're playing Liverpool and Forest back to back as well is kind of quite interesting. Yeah. Just as you mentioned that one, because they were two great performances. And let's hope for two more great performances. I mean, the likelihood is, even if the game doesn't go ahead this week, we're certainly going to play them next week, aren't we? One way or the other, I would have thought. And, the games coming up, we are going to be playing them unless, of course, they decide to kick them out of the competition. I mean, Adam, what do you think what they should do? And if Liverpool do obviously have put in to cancel this game, there's been a precedent before when Leighton Orient got kicked out last season for COVID cases. They couldn't play and got kicked out. Obviously, they're not going to kick Liverpool out in the semi-final. What do you think should happen now if they obviously they don't want to play the game, do they? What should happen?
I mean, I can see the game not going ahead because it's Liverpool, unfortunately. Because it's Liverpool, I think they'll get their way. But like you just said, there is a precedent set already where a team was actually said, no, you can't play, so you forfeit the game. So why should Liverpool get preferential treatment just because it's a semi-final and just because they're Liverpool over Leighton Orient? Like, there's no real reason that they should. So if that was a precedent, like last season's competition, what's changed now? And part of me thinks that this should have been kind of set in stone in the competition rules, and surely it is. If you cannot field a team, you forfeit the game. You get given a 3-0 loss, because you do in the league. It happened to Middlesbrough, didn't it, quite a few years back, but they couldn't field a team. So they had to forfeit and take a 3-0 loss. So for me, by the letter of the law, if they can't field a team, we win the first leg 3-0 and it goes to the second leg. That's personally the way of law, but it won't. It's Liverpool. It's a semi-final. It's not going to happen. I think the game should go ahead no matter what. They should either be forced to play or taken the forfeit. But knowing the way that the top teams get treated in this country at the moment, they are going to get their way. But even whether it goes ahead now, whether it goes ahead in 2 weeks' time, I'm still quite confident. I'm still fairly confident that we've got enough to beat them at this time. Melbourne.
You know, they've got, Adam, I'm told Liverpool at the moment have got 50 COVID cases. 50. 48 fans. Yeah.
Well, I feel for them. I really do.
I do as well. I do.
Yeah, poor sods, really, you know. But no, I mean, regardless of it, I mean, yes, they've lost a couple of their best players to AFCON, but, you know, seeing the way we have been playing lately, not just the City game, but even the 4 or 5 games before then, you know, there's no reason why we shouldn't be competing against them. Liverpool are not as good as they have been. They've been very inconsistent this season. You know, it's been shown that they can score goals. Obviously, Liverpool will always score goals with the attackers they've got, but they're not as strong at the back as they were. You know, they have leaked quite a lot of goals, and they're very inconsistent. They're getting a lot of draws. So, you know, they stuffed us, obviously, but that was in the darker days. You know, we're not talking about that now. But
it was only about 6 weeks ago.
After days. I don't remember those. You know, it was last year.
That was last year. That's a good point. It was
last year. First New Year joke. There you go. So for me, I fancy our chances anyway over 2 legs. I do. You know, especially if we get a good performance at the Emirates and then, you know, go to Anfield and see it out. You know, I do fancy us no matter what. I don't think it's going to go ahead. I do think they should get chucked out, but it won't. They'll get the first leg at home, and then we'll play in a couple of weeks' time, probably when they've got Salah back after Egypt get knocked out.
That's what they're hoping for, I think. That's exactly
what they're hoping for. It's so obvious that's what they want.
It is definitely what they're hoping for. We've got the truth sets free in the chat. Obviously, Spurs fan says Arsenal v Spurs is happening in the final. That would be interesting, shall we say?
I don't think I can handle that.
It would be an interesting, certainly an interesting day, wouldn't it? I'm sick of playing Chelsea in finals anyway. It's just boring. Why don't we play someone else for a change? You know what I mean? It would be quite nice to play Spurs.
We've beaten them recently, Chelsea. We've got a good history, but you know.
Well, yeah, we have. But I'm just sick of playing them. It's just boring beating them. Let's beat someone else. As Neil says there, 1987, of course, Liverpool. Good old Charlie. That was probably the most famous League Cup game against Liverpool, of course, all them years ago. Fantastic it was. And he says in 2022 we have another Charlie. Indeed we do. I don't know if Patino's quite ready to step up and score in the semi-final against them, but you never know. You might get to win him in the final maybe. And Rocky as well, of course. We just talked about him, that great goal against Liverpool in the League Cup as well. And Udako in the chat says, yeah, in that case, I hope they change the semi-final to 1 leg only and play at the Emirates. Well, if it is 1 leg, it should be at the Emirates because we were drawn at home. We were the first team out, so it should be at home if it's going to be 1 leg.
1 leg already, to be honest. I'm surprised it's not 1 leg.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do that as well with everything that's gone on at the minute. Games are getting postponed right, left and centre, and that may well be what they decide to do. And if they do, and we play them at the Emirates next week in a one-off game, I'll be even more confident we can win. And get through to the final. They'd have to make the other semi-final 1 leg as well, I guess, wouldn't they, to even it out and make it fair, I suppose. But even so, that's a possibility maybe. I don't know if they'll end up doing that. We'll have to see. I mean, James, what are your kind of thoughts of all this situation? I mean, Liverpool should just be kicked out, shouldn't they? They either should play or be kicked out. That's the only 2 options they should be given.
Yeah, unless they're going to, you know, and I don't know how far it gets into medical confidentiality and all this nonsense, but we should be given a list of every single player then that is the case, and we can determine whether their first team. I mean, it's all a joke, isn't it? Even in the league, it's all the teams that have new managers all of a sudden are getting these extended winter breaks to have a bit more time with their squads. You know, I see them lot down the road go from not having any running whatsoever to now they're covering the most yards in all their games. They're doing it because he's had a you know 8 to 9 days on the training ground with them all. I'm like, well, I want the transparency. I want to know, because I'm sorry if you've just got 1, 2, or 3. Well, we've had 1, 2, or 3 the last couple of weeks. We still played. You know, we played without Tommy Asu, who's really important. Lukonga, okay, he's important in terms of the squad. We didn't have him. You know, I just think it's absolutely ridiculous now. I think it's beyond ridiculous. And for me, I think you, like we said before, you've set the precedent with Leyton Orient, so it should just be transparent all the way through. And I think we should be. If you're not willing to play, then we're in the final for me.
mean,
That's a bit biased.
No, you
So
can't
be it,
tell
but-
me that. You can't tell me a club like Liverpool cannot field 11 players from their
Yeah,
whole
exactly.
squad, their academy,
Exactly.
their youth
And-
system.
Yeah, and
11
you know, all
players
they
and
ever
subs.
say,
Of course they can. Of course they
Yeah.
must. They've got 50 players with all the youth players. Just play them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and
Don't
all
let
they-
them call
all
them
they
off.
ever
They've got
say
to play the
is-
game.
all it ever says is there's not this pathway for these young players to get in.
Yeah.
Ooh, here's a great chance. Here's a League Cup semi-final. You're what? 180 minutes unless it goes to extra time away from Wembley. There's your platform. We're talking about, don't talk about last Saturday, but for me, that's how I think we should look at it. We should go, lads, throw that behind you if the game goes ahead, because we're a week away. You're a week away from being in a cup final. And okay, winning this doesn't get us the European football we all want. I know you go into the conference if you win this now, but it's a net. It's a safety net that you've got some
Trophy.
form of Europe.
It's a trophy.
Yeah, the trophy as well.
A lot of clubs haven't had too many trophies over the years. It's another trophy.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I think winning breeds winning. And I think if we'd done that in Feb and won that, we could go, right, March, April, May, let's keep, like you said, Melvin, momentum. And yeah, that's a great point. I think you can just keep kicking and kicking and kicking there. And I hope if it does go ahead Thursday, regardless of who they're playing, I hope we go strong. I would be doing the same to Leno, which Wenger did to Richard Wright all those years back. Sorry, mate. I know you played all the other games in the round, but it's big boy football now. Ramsdale's going in. I still want Tommy in. I still want White, Tierney. I would go for that second string with the Forest game. But if this gets cancelled, then I'd go strong for Forest.
Personally, I'd go strong in all of them because the two cups are what we can win this season. Yes, we want to finish in the top four as well, but I would just go as strong as we can in both of them, if I'm honest. I mean, just if the Football League are watching and the Football League are still trying to make their decision, what they need to remember is Liverpool played their youth team in this competition 2 years ago because they were more interested in playing in a World Club Championship competition the next day. So they played their youth team. They were quite happy to. They got hammered 4-0 or 4-1, whatever it was, against Aston Villa. They didn't care. They threw this competition 2 years ago and they just put their youth team in. Let them do the same now because they did it before. They disrespected your competition 2 years ago. So why are you going to bend over backwards to help them now? They don't care about this competition. They're not that bothered. They were quite prepared to play an under-15s team against Aston Villa. So let them play their under-15s team against us. Or if they're not prepared to do that, kick them out. That should be it. No discussion. They'll either play or they're out. Simple as that.
Adam makes a great point, though. It's because it's a semi. It's Liverpool, and if Liverpool were to beat us and to get into a final, it's the money that will be watched. All that. It was funny that when these cases were going, it was the week when Amazon didn't have them. If you remember, a lot of people were saying, we got a lot of injured. But I'm like, no. Jeff Bezos paid us. His money was it. You can't cancel it when it's my week. When it's your Sky and your BTs that you've had around for a while, but when it's my Amazon week, no, all the games are happening. So I think there's a bit of that involved as well. There's commercial advantages.
There is. There's no doubt about that. That's definitely a part of it. But ultimately, the competition. I think with Premier League games, you can almost understand. With a league game, you can rearrange it. With a cup game in the semi-final that you've got a short period of time till the final, you can't really rearrange it. So either play it or you're out. That's what it's got to be. That's what they've got to do. They won't. I agree.
Like I said, give me a list of your cases then.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because I'm sorry, I don't believe
because
it's at a level that you can't put out a side that's decent enough to even give Arsenal a game.
Exactly.
We lost to Man City, unfortunately, a lot more.
Yeah, we did. I was just going to say, Dako says the last time we played in the final was 2011 against Birmingham. We can't forget Fabregas handball. It was actually 2018 against Man City when we lost 3-0.
That was depressing. That
was the last time we was in the final, which was probably worse than the Birmingham one in many ways because we just never turned up that day. That was dreadful. Shane says they will never scrap the Liverpool game and upset the gravy train. TV rights to show a match. Well, I mean, TV rights, the games that are on TV have still been cancelled, haven't they? So it has happened, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with that. We'll have to see. And Sean says when is the Amazon documentary being shown? I think it's over the summer, isn't it? At the end of the season. I think that's when it is. I'm not 100% certain exactly when. It's going to be through the summer. And Sean says there as well, he was at that final 1987 start of great things. Yeah, I was there as well. first trophy I'd seen us win live. Fantastic day. So you never forget that. And so this trophy's always been quite important to me for that reason, because it was the first thing I ever saw us win. I know it's technically a different cup now. It looks different, but it's the same competition. And that was a very good day against Liverpool. So let's hope it goes ahead on Thursday. It seems unlikely now. The fact Liverpool have applied for it to be cancelled tends to suggest it's going to be cancelled one way or the other. Either they'll get kicked out and it won't get played, or they'll just postpone it till whenever next week or whatever it's going to be. So I don't think we'll be playing on Thursday, unfortunately, which is a shame. But ultimately, it does maybe give us a little bit more time to prepare for this game. Of course, last time we played Forest away in the FA Cup was not so memorable. Another controversial refereeing performance I seem to remember that day. A couple of penalties that Forest got. One of them shouldn't have even counted because he kicked it twice. Their fourth goal, which sealed the game, and some strange decisions. But funny enough, a couple of interesting stats about playing Nottingham Forest actually in the FA Cup. We've played them 4 times previously. The 2 times that we've beaten them, which was in 1979 and 1993, we've gone on to win the cup. So beating Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup has been a good sign for us in the past. The 2 times that we lost in 1988 at Highbury in a quarter-final. David Rocastle scored for us that day, actually. We lost 2-1. And also, of course, that one from 2018 when we lost 4-2 at the City Ground. So they're the 2 times that we've lost. So we've won 2 and lost 2. But I say winning against Forest has been a good omen in the past. In fact, our first win in 79, they were league champions at the time. The great side under Brian Clough that won the European Cup. I think they're just about to win the European Cup that season. We beat them 1-0 away in a quarter-final. So that was a great performance from Arsenal. I think the FA Cup, obviously, we know how important it is to Arsenal. We've won it the most times in history. It's our most recent trophy as well. Arteta's won it as player and manager, so it's a competition he likes. So I would assume that he is going to take this game. I know last season against Southampton he didn't. He made the mistake of resting players. Hopefully he's learnt from that. We did talk about that obviously on the yearly review show last week. So I'm hoping that he remembers how important this competition is to Arsenal, because I think Nottingham Forest, I know they've lost their last couple of games, but they've been in good form actually. They've a bit like us, they started bottom of the league after 2 or 3 games and they've pulled themselves right up the table. So I think it's going to be a tough game anyway, because championship sides away in the FA Cup have been traditionally for everybody. So I think we need. I know you mentioned about going strong in Liverpool and weaker against Forest. I want to go strong against everybody because I want to win these 2 cups, and I think it would be a great if we could do that. I mean, Melvin, what would you do for Sunday against Forest? I mean, whether the Liverpool game's on or not this week, do you still think we should go with a pretty strong side? Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 changes, of course, but not wholesale changes like we maybe did against Sunderland.
I would. One of the changes I would make is the left back position.
Yeah.
Because Tierney's had a fantastic run. He's been playing. This is the best he's probably played for a long time, Tierney. And just give him a little bit more rest. I think he probably needs it more than most of the other players. But the rest, I'd probably play very similar, but a very similar team. We want to beat them. That game you're talking about when we won 1-0 at the City Ground, that was a Stapleton header, wasn't it? I remember.
Yeah, it was, Stapleton, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was a great performance.
It was.
We're a very good team. No, I'd go for it. I mean, you don't know, you can't. We're not good enough yet to put all our eggs in one basket. We've got to just play every game as it comes. I mean, isn't it funny? Some of the most successful teams don't chop and change every week. The greats of the Liverpool team the last few years don't chop and change. Man City chop and change a little bit because they've got so many bloody players they've spent 80 million on. They can't have them, in bandages for 4 months. They've got to do something with them at least. So that's slightly different. But teams, as I say, like Liverpool, even Tottenham a couple of years ago, when they were really, really good, they had the very, very similar 11 every week, didn't they? They might have had one change every couple of weeks. I think that's what's in. It just shows with us as well, Richard. When we had a stable back 4, it's the first time I've had a stable back 4 for donkey's years. Look how well it's played. It may not be the only reason, but it's definitely a factor. You get to know where people are running off you, where they're going to be, without even looking. And that's split second, and that confidence makes all the difference if you're a defender. And also, also going forward, with the midfield, it makes a big, big difference. So, yeah, obviously, if you're with the players all the time, if there's 1 or 2 are showing a bit of fatigue, some of them are just slipping off the top of it for whatever reason, the concentration's going to be, because they are a bit tired. You've got to make that decision. But other than that, if they're looking like they're fit and they're strong, keep playing as many as you possibly can, with the exception, in my opinion, of Tierney.
I would maybe try and get Smith Rowe in the starting team as well, because he's been on the bench a lot lately.
Yeah,
I would try and find a way to get him in. Maybe rest Ødegaard possibly and stick Smith Rowe in that position for this game. Maybe that could be a change as well. Other than that, I wouldn't make too many others, to be fair. I just want to go for this game because it is going to be tough. And it's a competition, as I said, that we need to do well in, and Arteta's won it. So you'd imagine he wants to go as far in it as he can, really. Craig's in the chat there. He says, does Melvin know he's on camera? It almost looks like he's got a hidden camera. There is a little section on the side that's kind of looks like there's something blocking a little corner of it. So it does look a little bit like a hidden camera, actually. But maybe Melvin's going, you know.
It's like the intro to James Bond where they're giving the little.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I quite like it.
It does look cool. That's why I never mentioned it. I quite like it. I think it looks good.
What is
so
it? What's going wrong? Seriously, what is it? Oh, that bit circle thing.
Yeah, you got like a little. You got like as though something's just over the camera a little bit like that.
How about the room decorated? That's what it is.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's a bit of this. That's it.
Oh, that's it. It's cleared it now. But it did look quite cool, actually, I thought. But anyway, obviously, Craig pointed that for us. That was good. Udako says he wants to win the cup because he doesn't want Spurs to win it. Obviously, the League Cup, that one. A lot of cups going on at the minute. Sean says there is the game at Forest. Yeah, it's away at Forest, so it's going to be tough. We know it's going to be tough. Shane says he's winning the FA Cup and finishing top six, a better season than finishing the top four. Of course it is, because it's winning the FA Cup and we're finishing the top six and still getting Europe. So I would want to win a trophy, definitely, because there's a certain club not too far away that don't tend to win too many of them. So it'd be nice to get another one, wouldn't it? And the FA Cup's a great trophy to win. So let's go for that.
Is there a query over the Forest game? I've heard there's a query.
No, I think they had a game called off at the weekend, didn't they?
I've heard but 24 hours. There's been a bit of a query on that. I'm not sure. Hope I'm wrong. I think because their last game was cancelled due to COVID, because this one's on Sunday, they've got plenty of time, haven't they, to get players out of isolation and other stuff. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, there possibly is a slight doubt. There's a slight doubt over every single game at the moment, isn't there? For everybody, I suppose. We can't guarantee any game's going to go ahead, but I think there's a lot less doubt over the Forest game than the Liverpool game. Oh yeah,
I mean, Forest seems to be because they had one game cancelled last week, and I think that they're worried about whether or not they're going to have the players back. But it's tough luck, isn't it? You can't keep cancelling games in the cup because they've already cancelled replays in the third round already, haven't they? So let's just get the game played. If they can't get a strong team, it's their tough luck.
I just took a look. They've confirmed that they've got 3 cases. We had 4 the other week and still played. First game of the season, we had 6 and still played. Yeah, so they're calling the game off for free. This is insane. This is getting stupid.
No, I don't think Forest are going to call the game off. I just think that there was a bit of media.
Oh no, I'm talking about Liverpool. I just thought I'd have a quick look.
Oh, Liverpool.
Yeah, they've got 3.
Liverpool have got 3 cases.
3 cases. That's what they've said. They've got 3.
Well, if they've got 3 cases, then they should be forced to play the game or forfeit.
Yeah.
They should be.
I don't care. They might have 12 overnight, Richard. That's the only thing.
Well, it's tough luck. It's too late then. Once they've decided the game's going ahead, you're going to have Liverpool fans travelling down. I've got a mate of mine who's travelling down. He's got hotel books and stuff like that in London. Is he going to get a refund on that because Liverpool can't be bothered to play? Do you know what I mean? They've got to think of stuff like that as well. They can't just do this at last minute. These are professional clubs with like 100 players at the club who train all the time. They can get 11, they can get 15, 16, 17 players. They can. There's no excuse. And if they've only got 3 cases of COVID, then they should be forced to play. They should be forced to play the game or forfeit. That's it. They're the only 2 choices. Get on with it or whatever. Because
and then to say those 3 cases are we're going to play anyway.
We don't know where they are, do we?
Exactly.
Maybe that's Salah and Mane are 2 of them, and they're not even in the country. So, so maybe it's just them 2. But anyway, we'll see. I mean, obviously, this Forest game, though, I think that will go ahead. Actually, Forest. I don't think they'll cancel that. It seems unlikely, but I mean, you never know. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping they don't because, all these cup games, I was looking forward to January, all these cup games, and it's exciting. It's what you want to see, isn't it? You want to be involved in these games, and suddenly it looks like they might all end up not being played. And then it's like, January is a dreadful month at the best of times. You want to cling on to every little bit of excitement that you can. So we want these games to go ahead. Yeah, let's hope Forest does on Sunday, certainly. Anyway, we'll see. I mean, Adam, what are your kind of thoughts on the Forest game? Because I think it potentially is a banana skin, isn't it? These sort of games always are for Premier League clubs.
Yeah, of course it is. Any game against anyone is a potential banana skin, especially in the cup. I just hope, like we said before, he takes it seriously. Like last year against Southampton really pissed me off. It really did.
Yeah.
And it still kind of pisses me off right now because we had a chance there. It was out. We'd already won the year before. We had a chance to go out and, retain it or at least compete against it. And he just kind of gave up. And the performance was awful. So I hope he learns from that. And I hope that I do think we'll see a stronger team than the Southampton game. I do think players like you just said, Smith Rowe will come in, probably, Tavares, probably play Leno, obviously, in goal. But other than that, I think it will generally be a similar team. Possibly Nketiah, given that he played so well in the Sunderland game, for instance, so maybe he deserves a go. But other than that, I wouldn't change it much because you're going to lose that rhythm. And I think if we go with at least 6 or 7 of our first choice, we should be all right. We should have too much for Forest. Plus, I've got a mate who's a Forest fan. Like, they want to go towards the playoffs, so this is not really a priority for them because realistically,
No.
we're going to win the cup. Even though a cup run's nice, it doesn't bring in the massive income that it used to for championship level teams. But they want promotion. Forest have been out of the top league for so long, and since they've had that change of manager, they've been up and up. And I think they're only about 5 or 6 points outside the playoffs. So that's their priority, and the championship's so tight. So let alone us making changes, you'll probably see Forest making changes as well. You'll probably see them playing, some of their backup players or some youngsters as well. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be winning this game and winning it comfortably. I've got nothing against Forest. As a club, I've always thought of them, pretty positively, to be honest with you. They gave us our first kit after all, didn't they, back in the day?
They did.
So for that reason alone, I've always kind of favoured them a little bit, and always look, because I've got a friend as well. There's no reason why we shouldn't be winning this, and I don't really see there being any major hurdles to overcome unless we get a dodgy ref or get someone sent off very, very early. Who knows? But I love the FA Cup. I love the third round. I love everything about the FA Cup, to be quite honest with you. Like, it's one of my favourite competitions, and I always look forward to it. I always look forward to January, and I really hope that we give it a good go this year, and I don't see why we can't.
Exactly. We said at the start of the season, with no Europe, the 2 domestic cups had to be a massive priority for us this season. And obviously the League Cup, we've gone as far as we can go so far. And now the FA Cup starting. And I think we've got to go for this as well, as much as we can. I know, it's a difficult competition to win. The other big teams are still, we might end up playing a few of them. But, there's a real possibility that we've got a great chance. Nigel in the chat there says FA Cup excitement usually begins around the quarter-final stage. I think it begins on the third round day, actually. I would have had him on that. Yeah. He said we've beaten all the other top 6 teams at least once on our way to a cup within the last 7 years. Yeah, we have. So we've got a good history in the competition, as we know. And it is a massive competition, this FA Cup. I love it. And the third round weekend is always a great time as well when the big boys come in and you get some cup shocks. And they say, I'm obviously hoping that we're not involved in one. Actually, while we are on the FA Cup third round, I just wanted a moment's silence to remember this 30 years ago today.
Oh, no.
That was not an FA Cup third round tie to be excited about, was it, from our point of view? But yeah, the Wrexham, of course, 30 years ago that was. I can't believe it was that long ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. The whole day and coming home from there, and that horrible ground and horrible part of the world. It was just a dreadful, dreadful day and a terrible performance, a terrible result. Although we were robbed in that game as well, because I seem to remember we scored an equaliser
in the last minute.
That was disallowed for no reason at all. And I've seen it before, I've seen it since on replays. I still don't know why that goal was disallowed, actually. It's not offside, it's not a foul. It's like he scores, and the referee's like, no, we can't have you scoring. Sorry, no, we're going to disallow that. And they just disallowed it. And it's like, okay, fair enough. That was 30 years ago. And that was an FA Cup third round, not to be too fondly remembered. But ultimately, the good and the bad are part of what makes the club what they are, and what's given us all these great days over the years. You can't win everything. And funny enough, from that Wrexham game, because we came back the following year and won the cup double, it was almost like George Graham was like, well, we're not going to lose another cup tie. And then we didn't for 2 years. So that was good. So, good things came from it in the end. Obviously, we're hoping to avoid a similar, or it wouldn't be a shock of that sort of level if we lost to Forest. But I mean, we did lose them before, as I said. But we're hoping to avoid a shock at all, aren't we? And we want to progress in this competition and keep the season going as well. You know, in the FA Cup as well as the League Cup.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no. I think we'll rotate a bit more than what you want us to, Rich. But
no, don't say that. No.
Yeah, but no, I still believe even with that we'll be more than capable enough of doing the job, because you know one of those rotations is going to be, like you said, it's going to be Smith Rowe, and at the moment Smith Rowe's looking like he can win games on his own anyway. So it's not all doom and gloom. Don't worry.
No, it isn't. I know we have got some good backup line. Pepe probably might get some time.
He's gone, isn't he? He's been picked for Ivory Coast.
Oh, of course he has. No, of course he's gone. Yeah, he's gone, hasn't he? Yeah. And I think I said something about Nketiah. He might get to play perhaps some part of that game, possibly, mightn't he?
Yeah, I think he's out of his isolation now because he tested positive, didn't he? So yeah, I think he's had his week. So if he's feeling better, yeah. I don't think we'll play. Don't know if we'll play Balogun or not, because he could be loaned to a club that might still be in it, so we might not want a cup time. That's an interesting one. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
you never know. With this Niles news today, we might. Yeah, you never know. We might have someone in by then. You know, could be someone that played for us before and wore the same shirt number that's behind you, or it could be someone completely different altogether.
Yeah, no, we'll have to see. I mean, obviously, it is January transfer. You do get a lot of transfer rumours going on and stuff like that. I'm sure there'll be some stuff happening in and outs, probably.
I wouldn't say no to Wilshere playing on Sunday.
No, well, I wouldn't. Definitely not. You know, he certainly, if he's fit, he can do a job. I don't have any doubt about that. You know?
It'd be nice to see it happen, but what level it's going to be at, yeah,
it would be nice to see it happen, but whether it'll be this weekend or not, we'll have to see. Melvin, what's your score prediction for Forest then, assuming it goes ahead?
3-0 to us.
Oh, 3-0, confident. That's a good. That's an optimistic prediction. I like that. Adam, what do you reckon for Sunday?
2-0.
2-0. Okay, yeah, fair enough. That'll do. James?
Yeah, I was going to do 3-0 as well, but I'll be different. I'll go 4-0 then.
Wow. We did beat them 4-0 in the League Cup at the City Ground a few years ago, which was a good performance. I don't think it's going to be that easy, if I'm honest. I know what you're saying about Forest. Their priority is promotion, obviously, getting in the playoffs and stuff like that. But I think their crowd will be up for it. You know, they've got a decent support there. I think that's going to be a factor. I do think we'll win. I think it's going to be a bit. I'll probably go 2-1. I do think we will win, but I think it's going to be a tougher game than maybe we're anticipating. I do think Forest will give it a good go, and they certainly did last time. They did beat us, but I think we will.
Does Jenkinson still play for Forest?
He's at Forest. He hasn't played this season, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, if he starts Chuck Martinelli on his side, then yeah, my 4-0 might look.
Well, yeah, maybe if he plays, we might do. I mean, Neil's gone 6-1, but Neil must be on the drink because he's very optimistic.
Neil needs his water bottles checked. Don't worry.
Yeah, he's very optimistic.
Although he's doing quite well. He's doing quite well on predictions on our pod. Actually, he's doing good.
He's
been right the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's going to get it right with 6-1. You never know, but I'll be amazed if we win 6-1. But then, you know, put it this way: if we win 6-1 on Sunday, I think I'll put money on us winning a quadruple in 4 years. And like you said earlier, obviously
he'll come back in a minute and be like, "Oh, Patino will score 5."
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And Wilshere gets the other one. That'll be what it'll be. Nigel says there Arsenal should be winning a minimum of 3 FA Cups a decade, given a history in the competition. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? 3 a decade. I mean, I think we got 3 in the last decade, didn't we? So who's to say we can't get 3 this decade as well? That would be nice. But let's get cracking on, get it done now. Adako says there's just 3 players on COVID. The FA must set the standard rule when the fixture allowed to be postponed. But I don't know if they're able to be consistent in their decision. Well, they're clearly not going to be, are they? Because it's Liverpool. And Neil says a hat-trick for Charlie. Well, there you go. Only 3 for Charlie then. You're not that optimistic, are you? You know, we thought he was going to score 4 or 5. But anyway, there you go. Hat-trick for Charlie. That'd be nice. So I'm not sure if that's going to be the score. But anyway, it would be nice if it was. But we'll see. Right, what we need to do then, before we finish, because obviously we are still hoping it's going to be a League Cup semi-final, either this week or next week, or hopefully both. So what I thought we'd do is maybe have a look back on a little archive section on some previous League Cup semi-final memories, both good and bad, and we've got plenty of both actually. Obviously, that picture there from 1987 obviously Rocky with George following that victory at Tottenham. One of the greatest nights of my Arsenal supporting lifetime, without a shadow of a doubt. Scoring in the last minute, Rocastle in front of the away fans at White Hart Lane to win the semi-final was just an unbelievable moment. And probably that's, I don't think that's the highlight definitely of any League Cup semi-final that we've ever played in. And we've actually got quite a decent-ish record. We've got through 8 semi-finals and we've lost 7, so I suppose not that great maybe. We've played 31 games in League Cup semi-finals. We've won 14, drawn 7 and lost 10. The reason why it's 31 as opposed to 30 from 15 semi-finals is because there was that replay against Tottenham, so we played them 3 times. So not too bad. Funnily enough, though, when we've been at home first, we've not gone through on the last 4 times that we've played at home first since 1987. Funny enough, when we did play at home first, we lost the first leg, but we did go through. But we haven't actually won the tie when we've played at home first since then. So that's a long time. And we haven't actually won any of our last 8 away legs either in a semi-final, going back to 1993 when we won 3-1 at Crystal Palace. So it's not all been great. But having said that, we have won our last 2 semi-finals in the League Cup against Ipswich and Chelsea, and we've won 3 of the last 4 because we did beat Spurs in 2007 as well in extra time at the Emirates. The first big night at the Emirates, wasn't it, that semi-final after extra time? So that was a good memory as well. We've lost a few as well, I suppose. I mean, Melvin, you might probably remember our first semi-final against Huddersfield, yeah?
Yeah, I do. They were a second division team, I think, at the time. We were favourites to win it. And I think we won it 1-0 and 3-1, if I remember. But I remember the one the year later, I went to both semi-finals when we played Spurs. The home leg, they were a very good team then, Spurs, 60s, very good. And it was the atmosphere was unbelievable at Highbury, unbelievable. And we nicked a goal literally, it was a goal kick from Wilson. With the last minute, they just humped it up, and I think that it bounced, and I think as it came down, I think John Radford smashed it in. 1-0, we won that. We went, then the next, I think it was a week or 2 weeks later, we played away from home, and I had, the thing I've told this story, if I don't, try and stop me, but I'm still going to tell it. My uncle was friendly with one of the Arsenal players, very friendly. He used to get some tickets off of him. And I went to school and I said to me pals, I'm going to get 20 standing tickets tomorrow to bring in for the Spurs Arsenal. So they went, shut up, go away. The next day I came in with 19, because one of them was down to me. 19, there were 5 shillings each. I knocked out them all at school within the first 10 minutes for a knicker each, right? And the money went, it was like the players earned no money then, it was like a bit of a bunch, you know what I mean? Yeah, anyway, yeah. I stood, because of for the 5 shillings you stood, I stood it by the corner flag in the second leg, and they hit us with everything, Spurs, if I remember rightly. Again, the atmosphere at White Hart Lane, being it was Spurs Arsenal, being it's a semi-final, being it's a night match, the atmosphere was electric. And they scored. They scored to make it 1, and we thought, oh no, this is it. This is going to be it, because the crowd were then going berserk. And in the last minute, we got a corner. Geordie Armstrong took it, and I was standing quite close to him. I know it wasn't because he took that corner because I was near him. He did it of his own accord, right? I was standing quite close to him, and he hit this corner, and Radford again came in and headed it past the keeper. 2-1. I mean, that was a great night, a great victory. And that was it. That was fantastic. That was my first proper semi-final. Because the one against Huddersfield, I didn't go to the away leg, and by the time we got home in the second division, the tie was practically, a bit rude to say it, but it was over, And it was Huddersfield. Yeah. It was Huddersfield. Right, with all due respect, it's not Spurs. But the next year, that for me was not I'll never forget. Both of them, especially the second one.
Yeah. No, it was that's I mean, obviously beating Tottenham in a semi-final. We've played them 4 times in the semi-final of the League Cup, actually, which is incredible when you think about it over the years. We've never played them in a final yet, but we've played them 4 times. That's why I kind of felt we was going to draw them this year in the semi-final again, because we always seem to get them in the semi-final for some reason. And we've won 3 of them as well, and they did win, of course, in 2008, which we don't really want to talk too much about. But we won the other 3, which was good.
Was that the one they slaughtered us? They slaughtered us.
Yeah, 5-1. Yeah, but that doesn't really count anyway.
That was the one.
Adebayo and Bentner.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was we did put out a weak team though. In fairness,
Yeah, we did. We did play a weak team, but even so, it's still like we don't really want to.
nice.
We don't want to dwell too long on that, really, do we? I think they won it that year as well. I think that's the last trophy they won, actually. But there you go. I didn't have grey beard then. That's the long ago it was. You know what I mean? I hadn't gone grey at that point. I still has a bit more hair as well. But yeah, so that obviously beating Tottenham in the semi-final is just amazing. And to do it, I say at White Hart Lane in that manner is probably very similar to '87 as well, isn't it? The way that we won that semi-final, which was just unbelievable. And I mean, Adam, you got that nice green shirt on that I like. That was that reminds me of my first League Cup semi-final I saw was in 1982-83 season, which was when we had that kit when we lost to Man United home and away. The home leg at Highbury, the first leg was dreadful. We were 4-0 down. We did get 2 late goals. There was loads of trouble on the underground before the game, inside the stadium, on the underground after the game. It was just a terrible night. And then in the away leg, we did wear that green kit actually and lost 2-1. Raphael Mead scored our goal and we went out 6-3. And of course, Liverpool beat them in the final. But that was my first experience of a League Cup semi-final. So not the greatest, but I do like that kit regardless. So it's nice that you've brought it out for the occasion, which is good. I mean, what's your sort of main League Cup semi-final memories? Obviously, '87 would have been a little bit before your time, would it?
I didn't go to the game, but I do remember. I remember the final more than the semi-final. I do remember, obviously, the Spurs one as well, but I remember the final. But in regards to semi-finals that I went to, I think the first one I went to was probably, I think it was probably the Palace 93. Was it Palace?
Yeah, Palace
that was the first one I went to. And I think Andy Linnigan scored. I'm looking back on see if I can find it.
He did score, yeah. And Ian Wright as well.
He scored in the return leg, and I think we won 2-0. So I remember that and getting really excited because obviously, that was a double cup winning year, weren't it, as well? But I was excited because that was going to be my first kind of final. I'd done a semi-final at Wembley when we lost to Spurs a couple of years before that, but that was going to be my first kind of trip to Wembley for a final. So I was quite well excited about that one. Other ones that stick out for me, obviously more recent, would be the 2007 Spurs one, where Baptista scored an own goal, but then also scored 2 for us, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a funny old game, wasn't it?
I remember Baptista. We were chasing him for years, it seemed like, and then he come along and I was like, "Oh right, is that it?" And it was though, weren't he? He was all right. He was just a strong guy. He didn't have much in the way of skill, but he was just like a beast. He was a beast.
He was a battering ram, wasn't he? That's what he was.
He was a complete battering ram. Like when he got going, like you just said earlier, when he scored at Liverpool, when he was on song, he could score for fun, but he didn't really have much else, did he? It was just that, it was that strength kind of thing. But I do remember him fondly for that game, 2-2, and then the return leg went to extra time, didn't we? And I remember Ali Adier scored probably his best moment for an Arsenal shirt, I reckon. That one, and I think it was an own goal. I can't remember who scored their own goal, but I'm sure it was an own goal.
It was Chimbonda.
I didn't like him either. Didn't like Chimbonda. He was all that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So I remember that one, and I remember the Ipswich game, which was I think the 17-18 was no 10.
No, that was 2011.
2011. Because we'd lost the first leg, hadn't we? We'd lost 1-0.
Yeah, we lost 1-0.
I remember the return leg, going to the game and it being really, really tense because I think it was 0-0 at half time. And everyone's thinking, we can't not go through. And then ended up winning 3-0, didn't we? Quite comfortably in the second half. It was literally like the last, if you split that into fours, it was the last quarter that we ended up playing well. The other 3, Ipswich were probably the better side, I remember it. But we run our luck and we ended up getting there. So I think the Spurs and the Ipswich ones are the ones that really stand out for me from going to the games. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as I said, you can't beat a good beating the Spurs. Udako says, I've never experienced winning a League Cup before. When was the last time we won it? It was 1993, a long time ago, long overdue a win in this competition. We've been in the final a few times since then and have managed to win it. So, yeah, it'd be nice to finally put that to bed and win this cup again. We've only won it twice in history, actually. So it's the one thing that's letting us down domestically. We've won 13 league titles, 14 FA Cups and just 2 League Cups. So we need to add a few more League Cups to our total, actually. So, it's been a long time. It has been a long time. So maybe this year could be the year. Who knows? I mean, James, what about your kind of semi-final memories of the League Cup?
Yeah, I'm the same. So in '93, I was only 2. So my experience of it, I've never actually seen us properly win it in, as an adult, really. And all my memories are always the losses. 97, 98, I remember thinking we could have done a domestic treble there, but it was Chelsea.
Yeah, we should have done. We should have done.
Yeah, I remember that was when I developed my hatred of Mark Hughes. He just seemed to score against us all the time when he played for Chelsea. And I remember Vieira getting sent off as well. I remember that one. I remember Middlesbrough. Reyes' debut, weren't it? And he got the own goal. I remember my dad screaming about how Martin Keown's too old for us now, and because he got sent off, didn't he? He just lost the man, completely kicked him. Yeah, I remember the Wigan one.
That was terrible.
Yeah, because we got the head, didn't we? Van Persie, and I think Henry scored first, and then Van Persie, and then because of bloody away goals with Jason Roberts.
Well, that was literally the last kick of the game, almost, wasn't it? Yeah. And what always sticks in my memory about that game is there was about 5 Wigan fans behind the goal. That was all. It was empty, apart from these 5 Wigan fans that had come. And obviously they scored at that end, and he celebrated in front of the fans. There's no fans there. How embarrassing was that in the semi-final? But anyway.
Yeah, no. And then the other one was just the recent one was the Chelsea, because I remember we just played Conte before and drew 2-2 in the league. And we seemed to have Wenger had his number, didn't he, at the time? He was doing him every time he played us. So hopefully that continues with where he is now as well. But yeah, I remember the first leg, that was just when we started going to 3 at the back as well. And I remember being really impressed with how Iwobi and Welbeck helped Niles and Bellerin. In that game that we drew 0-0 at Stamford Bridge, Iwobi and Welbeck, it sounds weird saying it now, they were brilliant. They were absolutely, and more so defensively than offensively. Yeah. And then the second leg, I remember Hazard scoring, and you're thinking, it's a cricket score now, because it was like 6th or 7th minute in, wasn't it? And then Rudiger scored an own goal, and I can't remember, was it a weird type of goal for Xhaka, weren't it? It weren't like a screamer or anything.
No, I think
sort of bobbled in the box.
It was a scramble in the penalty area, and he kind of pushed it in,
Yeah. But no, I remember that one just thinking, oh my God, no, I can't believe we've done that. Because I thought when Hazard scored, you're thinking it's going to be, it's game over. But I just remember being really impressed in that first leg with Iwobi and Welbeck. I thought they were superb.
And that was Arsene Wenger's last season. And because he'd never won the League Cup, I felt as though we really wanted to give everything to try to win that cup for him in his last season. Of course, we did get to the final, and we know what happened there. Man City, of course.
Mustafi had a stinker, didn't he?
Well, they all did, really.
He's still looking for him, isn't he? Mustafi's still looking for Guerrero to this day.
Yeah. He doesn't know he's retired yet, does he? No one's told him. He's still looking for him. He's actually retired, and no one's told Mustafi he's retired. But so that was disappointing. But one of the greatest ones, going back a few years, was in 1988. Obviously, we were the holders, and we played Everton in the semi-final, and they were league champions at the time, defending league champions. And the first leg, we won 1-0 at Goodison Park. Perry Grove scored, actually. It was a good goal. The second leg at Highbury was one of the greatest nights at Highbury ever that I've ever experienced. 50-odd thousand fans, 54,000, I think it was. It was an incredible game. We missed a penalty. We missed open goals. It looked like it was going to be one of them frustrating nights where we'd end up getting knocked out. But in the end, in the second half, in front of the clock end, we did score 3 goals. We won 3-1. Rocastle scored one of them as well. He got some important goals in the League Cup, David Rocastle, actually. He got one of them. I think Smith and Michael Thomas got the other 2. And that was just a fantastic night. Highbury was absolutely rocking that night. The ground was shaking. It was just incredible. I think it was 54,000 or something like that in the stadium. It was just an incredible night, a brilliant atmosphere. And that was one of the greatest Highbury nights I can ever remember. And the fact that, it got us to the final. We don't want to talk about the final against Luton that year, because that was an incredible game as well, wasn't it? When we missed about 20 chances in 5 minutes. We missed a penalty. Yeah, we missed an open goal that day. Martin Hayes missed an open goal from about a yard, hit the post. Remember? Yeah. I think it was Alan Smith had a shot, was saved or something, and he literally missed a rebound from about a yard.
What about Gus Caesar in the last minute? Just before the end of the game?
Everything went against us that day in the end. But that was not the greatest. But that semi-final win over Everton at Highbury was just an unbelievable night, just fantastic. It's one of the greatest nights ever. So we need to mention that one, really. And of course, there was that game against Aston Villa in '96, Bruce Rioch's season, where you know, it looked like he might have been doing a George Graham and winning the League Cup in his first season. We got to the semi-final. We were 2-0 up at Highbury against Villa. Bergkamp scored both goals. And you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, we might be doing something here. Then Villa came back and got a draw. I think Dwight York scored both their goals, actually, Melvin, that night. And it made it 2-2. And then the second leg, the second leg was 0-0 at Villa Park. Loads of trouble that night as well. And that was after extra time. And we went out on away goals then, which was incredible, really, when you think, why would you have away goals in against two Premier League teams playing each other in the semi-final? But anyway, we went out on away goals and Villa ended up winning the cup that year. They beat Leeds in the final, and I'm sure we would have done as well. So if that had happened and maybe we'd won the League Cup, would we have kept Bruce Rioch a bit longer? And he won a trophy.
Glad we got knocked out.
Yeah, in hindsight, I'm glad we got knocked out. At the time, I was quite upset. But yeah, maybe in hindsight, it was probably the best result that we needed. Because I say he might have ended up staying a bit longer, mightn't he? But that Chelsea one that you mentioned before, we were 2-0 up in that home leg. We actually dominated. It was all over Chelsea. We were 2-0 up. And then it was Mark Hughes who got a very, very late goal.
Yeah.
Bit of controversy about it, I seem to remember. I made it 2-1 and gave them the away goal. And in the end, I say Vieira got sent off in the second leg and we lost 3-1 and got knocked out. So that
was it Overmars and Stephen Hughes, I think, weren't it, that scored for us?
It was Overmars and Stephen Hughes, that's right, yes. I think that might be Stephen Hughes' first goal, actually, for the club. And, you know,
because that away game, I swear, was Vialli's first game in charge, weren't it, for him?
I think it was.
As well. Yeah, because I remember trying to, you know, it's quite difficult for, I know you guys go way back further than I do and you can remember it like that, but I'm still in my head I just vaguely remember something about it.
Yeah, and obviously we played with 10 men and I think we were, I know we got a penalty, Bergkamp scored a penalty. I think we may have been 3-0 down and got it back to 3-1. We needed one more goal to go through on away goals with 10 men and we threw everything at it in the last 5 minutes and couldn't quite get it. And that was a disappointing night, actually. And Chelsea went on to win it that year, actually. They won the cup. I think they beat Middlesbrough in the final, actually, funnily enough. We talked about Middlesbrough before. So, yeah, we've had a few disappointing semi-finals, but, you know, one or two absolutely fantastic ones. Obviously, going through twice at White Hart Lane are the two highlights, the Everton game as well. And I agree what you said about the Chelsea game, actually. That was a good performance at the Emirates, wasn't it, that second leg? Because we were 1-0 down. And we had to score 2 to go through, and we did it in great style. And yeah, it was, I suppose, ironic that it was Xhaka that scored the winning goal in the semi-final. You know, all the bad things that people remember, and not many people talk about the fact he scored a semi-final winner for us against Chelsea, and he did an important goal. So maybe we need to mention that as well. So you know, I've got nothing against. I like Granit Xhaka, so I'm pleased that he scored that goal. And
so someone has to.
Exactly, someone has to. So why not me? Udako says, if we win this cup, do we get Europa League next season? No, it's a conference, isn't it? The Conference League, yeah. Which you know, do we want to be in that? I don't know. I don't really care. I just want to win a cup. So
if Thursday goes ahead, do you think we win Thursday? Oh, sorry, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, no, I do. I think if we play on Thursday at home against Liverpool at the moment, the way that we're playing, and you know they might have 1 or 2 players out, I do think we will win. I do. I'm confident. We'll win the first leg. Whether it's going to be enough for the second leg, we'll have to see. But I think we will win 2-0 if we play it.
Clean sheet, isn't it? If we keep the clean sheet, it's massive. So
I'll go 2-0. What about you, Melvin? Do you think we'll win Thursday if it goes ahead?
Yeah, definitely 2-0 as well. And I think that what you might forget, talk about momentum. They were 2-0 up at Chelsea, Liverpool. Yeah. And Liverpool and Chelsea got about a 2-2, and they looked a little bit despondent because of that.
Yeah, they did.
And their heads were down a little bit. I hope it continues for Thursday. Yeah,
but that's probably why he wants the game called off. Klopp.
Yeah, because he's not in the right mood, not in the right Glenn Miller.
Yeah, no, that's it. So hopefully we can win it. What do you reckon, then, Adam, for Thursday? If we play Thursday, do you think we'll win?
I also think 2-0. I think it won't go crazy, but I do think 2-0. Interestingly enough, I just had a message from an Everton supporter of mine who said the Everton Supporters Union have submitted an official investigation request to the EFL around Liverpool because they suspect foul play.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I think we all suspect foul play. They've only got 3 cases of COVID, and there's definitely foul play because there's no reason why they shouldn't be playing.
He's just forwarded me the official statement from a copy of it on a picture of the Everton Supporters Union. Yes.
Well, I'm fully behind the Everton Supporters Union, so we're fully backing them in whatever decision they may make. But we're definitely supporting their action without a shadow of a doubt. So let's hope that the FA do as well. Neil says they're 3-0. He's definitely been on the happy juice, isn't he, Neil, tonight? He's gone 3-0 in the first leg, and in Ketty Bracey said, well, that'd be all right, wouldn't it? And Tommy, well, I'm not sure about Tommy. He's not noted for his goal scoring, is he? As great as he is, as much as we love him. And he says if he plays, I don't know if he will. We might have to play, actually, because I think Cedric was out, wasn't he? So Tommy Asu will probably have to play. It'd be nice if he did pop up with a goal. He's going to score one sooner or later, isn't he? I expect at some stage. So why not score in a semi-final? Do it that way. It'd be brilliant. So yeah, I mean, let's hope that we can add another great semi-final League Cup memory to our archive to come in years to come. On Liverpool in 2022 maybe can be added to that list of some of those great games from the past. So if it ever gets played, of course. But I'd actually take going through on default, getting them kicked out. I'll be quite happy with that. Get us to Wembley.
Oh, yeah, it'd be amazing.
And beat Tottenham in the final. That's what we want, isn't it? That's what we all want to see, I'm sure. I know it'll be a stressful day, wouldn't it, playing them in the final, I guess. But we've played them in the semi-final at Wembley in a one-off game, so we know what it's like. We've done it twice. We won one and lost one, so maybe this is going to be the decider in the final this time. We've got a great record in the League Cup against Tottenham as well, so it's all in our favour. So I'll be looking forward to that, actually. So we'll see what happens. But we need to get through first, one way or the other. Whether we get through by foul means or fair, whatever way it is, I don't care. As long as we're at Wembley in February, that'll be great. So let's hope it is. But yeah, I mean, we've had some good League Cup memories over the years overall, and we have got through our last two semi-finals in a competition. So let's make it 3 in a row. And let's get revenge on Liverpool, because the last time we played them in the semi-final was 78 when they beat us. So we owe them one for that. A long time ago, different Liverpool team. But at least in them days, they were quite happy to play the games regardless. There were a couple of people out. They still wanted to play. They wasn't scared to play us in 78. They're a bit scared to play us now, aren't they? So I feel a bit sorry for them, actually, because, they're supposed to be this great club. They won the league a couple of years ago. They won the Champions League. And they're scared of little old Arsenal with like an under-15s team. And they're scared of playing us. It's ridiculous, really, isn't it? But anyway, what can you do? Hopefully, we will sort it out on the pitch and beat them anyway, and that'll be good. So that's that then. I say lots to get through tonight. Lots of happening this last week, and there could be a lot more going on in the next few days as well, with postponements and hopefully some cup games and some excitement on the pitch and some games to look forward to. Because we've had one game called off. We haven't done too bad actually compared to other clubs, I suppose, with the Wolves game last week. We don't want any of these called off because at the minute it's looking, we've got some momentum going, as we've said, and it's we want to keep it going and not have to have games called off. Neil says, great chat tonight. Thanks for joining us, Neil. Thanks for your comments as well. And he says he enjoyed his water, did he? Okay. I'm sure it wasn't just water, was it? But anyway, stay on it, because it's good to be so positive about everything, which is nice to see. So that's that then. I say good show. I thought it was nice to get everything, the therapy session out of the way following some the disappointment at the weekend. Melvin, thank you very much again for coming on. Where can people find you?
Find me on this channel and on my Twitter account, and on from Dale Square to Where, and also Mr. Arsenal Ryan. Thanks again, as always. Really enjoy it. And I suppose the clinic has helped a little bit. Didn't at first, but now it's helped me. Thanks very much, Richard.
You think of all these good memories of semi-final victories over Tottenham. That's what it is. That always cheers you up, doesn't it? That's always the best way to end the show, with thinking about beating Spurs, especially as we're definitely playing them in 2 weeks' time in the league, a big game, and we could be playing them maybe in the final as well. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Adam as well. Thanks a lot for coming on. Thanks for obviously coming back again following your holiday. Good to see you in the nice top as well. My favourite away top of Arsenal.
Yeah, it's nice to be back, actually, after a couple of weeks not being here. So it's nice to be back, feeling nice and at home. And yeah, I feel good. It's been a couple of weeks of not being able to really talk about Arsenal. So it's been quite nice to do so again. But yeah, you can find me on here pretty much most Tuesdays, if not every Tuesday, and also on Twitter. But yeah, cheers. Good chat tonight, boys. That
was good, yeah. Thanks for coming on. And James, of course, he's become a bit of a regular lately. Actually, he hadn't been on for a while, and suddenly we can't get rid of him now. He's here to stay, maybe.
I appreciate it. No, thank you very much. Yeah, just LL Cool James 91 on Twitter, and then just purely Arsenal FP for the podcast. And I make appearances here, there, and everywhere. It seems.
Yeah, no, it's always good to have you on, and you're always welcome.
I appreciate it.
Gary the Checker says, good show, Rich and panel. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, mate. And I say, don't forget to subscribe to DWTT's channel as well. He pops up on a lot of other channels as well, actually. He does a few watch-alongs and stuff like that. So that's always good stuff. So good to see. Gary must have a night off tonight if he's watching us. And Neil says, thanks, Rich, Melvin, Adam, and LL. Take care of yourself, mate. Thanks for tuning in again. We'll have to get you on, Neil, as well. I know we keep saying it. We haven't managed to quite get it organised, have we? I'm sure one day you'll be coming on as well. And Adako says, I prefer playing Balogun against Forest than Eddie. I think Balogun is good enough for a championship team. Yeah, I mean, he probably would be, but then so is Eddie, isn't he? So, I think Eddie's got a little bit more experience. I'd maybe favour him if we're going to make that change up front against Forest. But, I'm sure Balogun could do well against him as well. And Neil says, James wants to be on all the pods. Well, he does, but he just he loves it, doesn't he?
If they ask, I will say yes.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. Neil says, no, thanks. No way. We'll get you on, Neil. Definitely. We will sort that out at some stage in 2022, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. So that was this week's Tuesday clinics. Some great stuff to talk about. Hopefully, we'll have a game on Thursday. I'll be doing a watch-along of the Liverpool game if it goes ahead. If it doesn't, then I might have to think of another plan and do something else instead at 8 o'clock or 7:45, whenever the game is going to start. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll find out over the next day or so what's happening with that game. If it is on, I will be covering it. On Friday, it's the Arsenal women's show's back because the WSL gets back underway this weekend. Well, assuming that those games go ahead as well. Arsenal due to play Birmingham on Sunday. So I'll be doing a watch along of that as well. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff, that is. And then straight after that, it's the Nottingham Forest game, pretty much. So I'm going to be busy on Sunday afternoon. We're doing watch along. So please join me for those if you can. And on Saturday as well, Saturday evening, I've got a Nottingham Forest fan coming on to preview the FA Cup game. He's got a channel called Dora on Tour. Nottingham Forest channel, really good stuff actually. He goes home and away games, it's all vlogs and stuff, really good. He's coming on Saturday to do a preview of the Nottingham Forest game as well, so that's going to be good. So loads coming up on the channel, so please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will hopefully see you guys on Thursday for the watch along. Otherwise it won't be till Friday for the women's show probably. Adako says happy new year guys, take care to yourself. Happy new year to you, thanks for your support of the channel. And Neil says, good luck on, stay safe. Much love as always. And to you, mate, as well. Yeah, we'll speak very, very soon. So hopefully I'll see you guys on Thursday for the watch along. Let's hope so. Otherwise, I might do some League Cup show or do something else. I don't know, maybe get a Liverpool fan on and we'll pretend that game's on maybe. And I don't know, we'll do something. Or maybe see if we can start a petition to get them kicked out of the competition if they don't play, maybe. Try something like that. Get the Everton fans on, actually. The Everton fans group that Adam knows. Maybe get some of them to come on and we can talk about kicking Liverpool out of the competition if they don't play us on Thursday, maybe. So loads we can do. I'm sure we'll sort something out. But hopefully I'll see you Thursday. Thanks to Melvin, as always, Adam, of course, and James. And we'll see you back obviously next Tuesday for the Tuesday clinic, but loads coming up before that as well. And in the meantime, of course, as always, come on, you Gunners, come on. 2 big games, hopefully, if they played. They're all scared to play us. That's the problem. See, we're so good now. Even Man City was scared to play us. Everyone's scared now. We're back. That's just what it is. We're back. Hopefully, we'll continue, and we'll see you very soon. Take it easy, guys. Speak to you soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Oh,